Hi, welcome to Lead Taken. This is Mika, and here at Lead Taken I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And today I want to talk a little bit about witchy hacks. And these hacks are going to help you do magical workings that are, one, successful, and two, that you actually see your desired outcome. I've been doing these particular witchy hacks. I'm calling them witchy hacks. We can call them spell hacks, magical working hacks, whatever, witchcraft hacks. The point is, I've been doing these tried and true things, and I've had success. It's been more than a decade now, so I think I might be onto something. And I know a lot of other people say the same thing, that they have success doing things with these hacks. Number one, write everything down. It's very important that you write everything down. Magical workings, rituals, dreams, all of that sort of stuff. You want to write it down. You do not have to be fancy with how you keep your record keeping. A book of shadows, grimoire, a spiral notebook, call it a journal, a notepad, the inside of a book. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. However you want to go, I would suggest that you give your writings a little bit more, for lack of better words, respect. Your thoughts that you're putting into written form are important, and I would want to honor that with writing it in something dedicated just for those words, just for those thoughts. And I think that's also part of being a witch, and just keeping track and honoring your workings. It's an honor to do this, because not everybody has the knowledge, and everyone won't bother seeking it. It's not that they're not capable, they won't bother, or they'll just be ignorant to it for whatever circumstance they're in. But you do know, and you call yourself a witch, and you can do witchcraft, and part of witchcraft is writing stuff down in your journal, book of shadows, or grimoire, or all three, however you want to go about it. But I do strongly believe, in my humble opinion, part of doing this type of practice, is in record keeping. You need to write things down. One, specifically, spell results. If you want to find out if spells are working, besides just, let me rephrase it. You do a spell over the holidays. You want Christmas, a sort of, Christmas gift. You basically want something, right? And you want it before the end of the year. You want it for Christmas, or you want to purchase stuff for other people. It's not always about you. Maybe you want to have the money to fund others, to help other people out. So you write it down, you write everything down. So, when it's over with, that's fine. So 3 years from now, if you're in the same position and you want to do it again, you're scrambling, trying to piece together what you did that last time it worked, and you don't remember all the details of how fast it came. You think it was a week, it could have been within that month, you're not sure. Was it 500, or was it 500 all at once, or 50 here, 20 there, or did it build up? You see what I mean? If you would have just written it down and wrote down the results of the spells as it happened, meaning maybe you got $100 on Monday and 400 on Friday, however it happened. Write down when you did the spell, what was happening as far as astrologically speaking, what lunar phase were we in, that sort of stuff. Write it down, because you may need to come back to it. You might want to use that for someone else and help somebody else out. Not to mention, some of us, we want to pass this sort of stuff down. Now, you can have several volumes, because if you've been practicing for a while, you might not have one big book. You might have several volumes of books. I know I'm starting my second volume. Actually, that's a story. I can't even count, because I'm, journal fanatic. I have multiple journals and all sorts of stuff that I write things in. So I have multiple journals. I have multiple volumes to share, if I so choose to, with my daughter or my son or a grandchild for that matter. Write your stuff down. It helps, and honestly, it honors yourself. It is honoring your words, your thoughts, your ideas, everything that you thought of, that you manifested, and you wrote that stuff down. Keeping it in a dedicated book, or even on a computer file, whatever you want to do, but it's giving it some sort of, it's making it sacred when you do that, and that's a dedicated space just for those thoughts, words, whatever. That's witchy hack number one. Number two, clean your space. Clean your space. Cleanliness is next to witchiness. Okay, here's the deal. Altar spaces, you want to dust it off, you want to clean it. I just cleaned mine today, so I really was thinking about this when I was doing this video. Clean your space, you know, your incense holder, clean out the leftover residual, you know, from the incense. Candles, spell candles, if you have, you know, the 70 jar candles, wipe that. Make sure, first of all, you should be doing that anyway. Make sure you wipe down any dust or anything like that on your candles, on the jar, in the inside. Clean that out. Along with your altar space and wherever you do your workings and things like that, along with that area in your home, you need to clean your home. And here's why. Having a clean flow of space, one, good smells in your home, hopefully using products, you know, whether they're natural, all natural products, that elicit a certain aroma that brings peace, that brings, you know, positivity, or whatever it is, goodwill and, you know, prosperity, whatever it is that connects with you. You want that in your house. And in order to have those good smells, you want to start with just cleaning surfaces. The floors, your surfaces, dust. Dust shouldn't be collecting everywhere. It shows neglect when things are dusty. It shows neglect. And if you're neglecting that space by maintaining it and keeping it clean, most likely you're neglecting that space from a spiritual point of view, blessings point of view, and just being in a position of receiving positivity, or even emitting positivity, prosperity, and all those things, abundance that you want in your home. You're going to want in protection. You're protecting this dusty, neglected space? No. So you probably aren't doing much in the protection spells or protection workings or reinforcing what you already have, because it most likely you're not maintaining it. Because usually if you're doing some sort of working on your home or in your home on a regular basis, cleansing out, you know, cleaning it out from a metaphysical point of view, most likely you cleaned your house. You know, usually you run a vacuum, sweep the floor, what have you. You might put a little floor wash down, you do that. Wipe surfaces. If you're going to sage right afterwards, you know, you usually sage or whatever incense you're going to put on. You do those things right after, usually after cleaning. Most of us do. My point is, cleanliness is next to witchiness, okay? You need to clean your space for better flow. It works. It's not great to work in a dirty environment. And when I mean dirty. Dust is dirt. It's not good to be trying to do magical workings at a dirty altar, trying to bring about these spirits and summon a different deity and connect with ancestors, and the place is not clean, physically not clean. If you're leaving offerings, then that means you're in touch with understanding the physical and the spiritual and how they're connected. So if you think leaving a physical offering, right, connects with those in the spirit realm, and I'm speaking in general, let's say the spirit realm, right, you understand that. So then you have to understand that a dusty environment also is connecting with them as well, and that's also sending energy, a message through that energy. So clean your space. That's witchy hack number 2. Okay, hopefully that's not too preachy or too judgy, because I'm not trying to be. I'm just serious about the clean. Sometimes, you know, I'm on Instagram with everybody else, and I'm on Facebook with everyone else, and sometimes I see people, you know, most times, you know, people show their altars and stuff like that, and it's beautiful, and I get a lot of, you know, ideas myself, and I'm like, wow, that's so intricate and elaborate, and I love that. And you know, most of the time those pictures are nice, but we've all seen somewhere it's like, honey, what's going on in the background? Why does your home look like this? Why? And it's not about money or decor or everything looking nice. It's just about being clean. You know, you see shopping bags all stacked up on the floor, and I don't know. I don't want to be preachy or judgy. I don't mean it like that. Again, I'm just telling you the stuff that I know has worked for me over the years. Like I said, it's been more than a decade. So moving on. Witchy hack number 3. Balance. Balance. If you're going to do spell work, you need to have some level of emotional balance when you're doing this magical working, ritual, or whatever. If your emotions are running too high in any one direction, you're not balanced. If you really think you're gonna do a successful spell without any caveats, any other energy at play, and your energy is all the way over here, but you're doing something in complete opposite of that. Prime example, if you're going through grief, your sadness, you know, you're very sad and you're just feeling very down. Let's say you lost somebody, but you're trying to do a money spell. It is almost impossible for that energy not to translate into that spell. Yes, it's possible you have two things going on, more than two things happening at once. A strong urge, desire, need to do the money spell while you're going through this. Does it mean you can't practice magic when you're going through something? Of course not. It would be, ultimately, you're going to want to, you know, maybe rein those emotions in as best as you can and strictly focus on that spell so you don't have any overlap, because you may get your money, but it could come with some serious things that you never bargained for in that outcome. So that's one of the reasons. And these are obviously exaggerations of what could happen. It could be something even smaller than that. You know, you're fearful that your house is going to be broken into. You're fearful, you know, I mean, let's be honest, the current state of affairs, the way things are, you know, people are afraid, you know, gun violence, things like that. You're terrified. When you're operating in a place of high anxiety and fear and those strong emotions like that, and you're trying to do a protection spell, you have to be careful you're not inviting the very thing, because you're feeling that, and that's the signal you're sending out into the ethers, into the universe, what you don't want to happen. So you have to balance a little bit more before maybe you do that spell. You're going to need to do some work on yourself first to get you to a balanced emotional state. It doesn't mean you forget about your fears or what's going on. I said a balanced emotional state so that you can actually maybe complete the rest of the spell that, you know, your desired spell that you would like to do without all that extra emotion being added on. I mean, you can think about this in all different types of ways, you know, like for example, you know, besides the, you know, anxiety, fear, sadness, grief, to make it even a little bit more relatable if you're dealing with strong emotions of desire and want for someone. You know, you want someone, you're tired of being alone, or you want someone better, you know what I mean? It's not always, you know, maybe you do have somebody, you want somebody better for you. And you have pure intentions. It's, you know, it's nothing negative here. That's great, but that want and desire is really strong, and you're trying to do some working to maybe get that done. You have to be careful that the want and desire doesn't kind of flood your spell. Sometimes you can have too much. Again, this is without being emotionally balanced. You might word your spell, if you're saying, hopefully you wrote something down and you're going to speak something aloud, but you might have worded it so that it's all about the want. You have to be very careful, because you'll say, what will happen is you'll get what you ask for. The continuing desire, the continuous wanting. Sometimes we get caught up in that, and I can do a whole video about that, because I think that's part of manifesting, that's part of spell work, and you know, all of that. A lot of people have wonderful intentions and they gather all the right supplies and do say almost always almost the right things, except there's some key words and maybe even your thoughts where you keep saying want. I want this to happen, or I wish. You don't want, you know, to me, that's how you formulate, that's how you begin to picture the thing that you want and that you might do a spell for, whatever the outcome is, right? It starts with a desire, a wish, a want, but it's supposed to grow from that. If you're coming into your spell work still in the desiring and the wanting and the wishing, that's what you're going to get. More opportunity to desire, to want, and to wish. So balanced emotions are really important. And of course, if you're really angry and you do something, you know, do some type of working, that can have a result maybe more than what you intended. Now, I'll just add this other part. You might be fine with high emotions. Sometimes high emotions aren't that bad. Still same witchy hack, so it's just kind of looking at it in reverse order. I know I've been sort of at high, my emotions have been in one direction much higher, and I wasn't emotionally balanced. And it was more anger, it was wanting revenge, and that's exactly what happened. I was aiming for that, though. Sometimes if you're ecstatic and you're full of joy and you're full of happiness and all that other stuff, and you want more, or you want to continue on the path that you're on to whatever's bringing you that feeling, that's a good time to do that. So it's not a always type thing, but it's usually when you're trying to do something opposite of whatever that emotion is, that's when you might run into some problems. So if I'm feeling sad and I'm trying to do a money spell, maybe not the best thing. But if I'm feeling really happy, yeah, that's probably a really good sign to do. That's a good time to do a money spell. Hopefully you can kind of follow along with that. Of course, there's exceptions with everything, right? But the general rule of thumb, that's what we're talking about. That's what I'm saying has worked for me. So those are my 3 main witchy hacks that have been super helpful over the years with navigating this wonderful world of witchcraft. Notice I didn't talk about any magical tools outside of your grimoire, book of shadows, of course, but nothing more, because those things are helpful and are a way to focus, but not necessary and not required. And I don't necessarily consider them a witchy hack. I think they're nice to have, but you don't have to have them to practice. All right. So thank you for watching. Again, this is Mika with Lead Taken. Please like this video if you enjoyed this content. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you go ahead and subscribe now. And again, if you have subscribed, I really thank you and I really appreciate it. All right.